Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Majestic View, where our goal is to inform, empower you to raise the bar in every aspect of your life. I'm Pamela D. Marshall with a majestic view from Gainesville, Florida.
Hi, everyone. I'd like you to take away this message from me. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I'm Leah World Traveler, or Leah Miller, with a majestic view from Jamestown, Rhode Island.
Hi, everyone. When women come together and we empower and inspire each other, we truly can run the world. I'm Zaakirah from the Sea Life Different brand with the Majestic View from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hello, everybody. Like Martin Luther King said, you run. If you walk, if you can't walk, you crawl. And by all means, I am Funmi from Inglewood, Ohio.
Everyone, we are so thrilled and excited to be able to come to you via social media platforms so that we can share with you the majestic magic that is within us and within you to inspire you to your greatness, to inspire you to your genius. This show came about because we were all a part of a panel on an event called Women of Wakanda. And I want you to have an opportunity to meet these incredible women who are giants in their own right in the fields in which they are performing their genius. And I would just like to take time um, to give you an opportunity to meet them, hear about their companies, and then we invite you to share any comments that you have, any questions that you might have. This is a show that we're going to be doing every other week with a goal of doing all of the things that you heard us talk about. Women stepping into our roles as leaders, helping us to empower each other, helping us to inspire each other, helping us to raise the bar and tell the magic of our stories. So, Leah, how are you, my sister?
Doing well here on a rainy night in Jamestown, but doing really well and so excited to be a part of this amazing program and to be on this panel with these incredible professionals and sisters. Just a little bit about my company. It's Leah World Traveler. It's basically just a freelance company where I get to write and say all the things that we want to say, but don't always have the time to think about or discuss, a lot like what we're trying to do with this show. I write about a little bit of everything. I've been published everywhere and have won several writing awards, but this is what I do on the side. My main role is as a U.S. diplomat, foreign service officer, working usually overseas. I'm actually just in the United States for a short period of time now, so my majestic view will be changing frequently in the coming years as we continue with the show. But I am happy to answer questions about that. But essentially, I am overseas representing all of you and all of our communities and trying to build bridges and make bonds with our sisters and brothers globally.
And we look
Thank you.
forward to your reports all over the globe. It's fascinating what you're doing, and we look forward to hearing more about that. Zaakirah, let me tell you, everybody, we're all sitting here on Restream because of Zaakirah and her magic of pulling this all together, pulling us all together so that we can come to you tonight. So, my sister Zaakirah, we honor you and we thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to continue to bring my expertise as a decade-long brand strategist, originally as a photographer. I am all things creative because of my own vision, my own cancer being saved by a photograph. I was able to continue to photograph no matter where I traveled to, no matter what women I interacted with, and just empower them to step outside of their comfort zone, see life through a different lens, literally and figuratively. And it is an honor to let that be my form of advocacy, to be able to um, make a difference and continue to be majestic.
That you are, my sister. Funmi. Funmi is off camera because we're having a little technical difficulty on her end. But Funmi, tell us about what you do and your majesticness.
Hi everybody. I hope you can hear me. I
We
am having
can.
a bit of a
Yeah. Yep.
technical difficulty. Um, what I do over time is I have a background in broadcast media, um, working from Nigeria and currently working here in the States. Um, I kicked off pretty early. I have about 20 years on my belt, and I consult for media outfits right about now. Um, I consult television, radio, but also I consult regarding building brands. And I'm happy to just share my majestic view from my part of the world.
Thank you, ladies. When we got together on the event based out of Tulsa with Chase and his wife, the women of Wakanda, that was a magical event to see sisters from all across the globe in various aspects of business, entrepreneurship, their roles with companies like, or agencies, government agencies, as Leah is. What did that do for you all?
Wanna go?
Dump, da, dump, go, go, go.
Okay, I'll jump in. For me, it was incredibly rewarding and empowering because one of the difficulties, at least for me in my line of work, is that I'm often in parts of the world where there isn't a lot of representation, of Americans, number one, but of African Americans or African diasporans, and so it can be a little bit isolating and a little bit lonely. Because you're out there upholding an ideal, but you don't have your community to nourish you and give you that energy and that community and that safety and good sense of self to know that you're walking your right path. So it takes a lot of fortitude and like strength and personal perseverance to sort of manage those feelings. But when I had the opportunity pretty shortly after I came back to the United States, I mean, I've only been back in the country since early July and been in a whirlwind getting my life set up until the time when we had the panel. It just was an important reminder that I needed about who I am, where I'm from, my community, Black excellence, what we're capable of, who we really are, and the self-reliance that we have, and just the amazingness of our community and the power of the world of Wakanda, of which we're all a part. And it was just a good reminder and a message that I needed myself to sort of fill up my cup again to continue to pour it into others. So that's what it was for me. And I feel like it's just a first step to kind of embrace once again my community and my people.
Fumi?
I think, first of all,
Did we lose her?
No, I think you got muted for a second for me. Say something else. We still don't hear anything from me.
While she's getting her audio back, Zaakirah, what was it like for you? Because you co-produced this event, so you had an opportunity to see all of us um, and help to pull this whole event together.
Yeah, it was an amazing full circle moment for me. I think I also was just like the rest of you. I was reached out to be a speaker, and I'm like, what an amazing opportunity to continue to share my story, especially around the theme of innovation and media and tech, everything that the summit was about. And then just being able to bring my zone of genius of um, branding and co-producing. Like, how else can we make it better and make it even more efficient and even more powerful? And from the front end and the back end is it's a lot of noise, but that's the beauty and the magic of media, right? Really being able to
Yeah.
make it work no matter what goes on the front end, on the back end. So it was an honor to really be a part of it. And so many doors have opened since then. So yeah.
Well, tell doors that have opened for you since then.
Yeah, well, one of the doors that have opened is not just being a co-producer for that specific event, but the team at Sanical, which that's the people who put it on, Roxanne and Chase. Their mission at Sanical is really to eradicate period poverty. And so even with me, I'm a woman with polycystic ovarian syndrome, an autoimmune, syndrome that affects the reproductive health. And so they actually shortly after that asked me to really be on board, come on board with helping with their startup to continue to eradicate period poverty. And that's been an amazing journey so far of my decade-long experience and my love of media and my love of empowering women. And here we are today.
Yeah, this show, The Majestic View, the goal of this show, as we said at the top, is to inform and to empower. And the way that
Sorry.
we plan to bless you, the
Thank
way
you.
we are going to do that is by bringing to you topics that are of interest to you. As a matter of fact, there is an email address that you can email us if you'd like us to cover a topic or if you would like to be a guest on the Majestic View. Just send us an email. And the beauty of all of this, as Leah, world traveler, will still, even in her travels, she'll still be able to be a part of this show. Funmi, when you were asked to be a part of this event and then um, being in the event as a woman of color, were there? Well, let's just talk about any misconceptions about Black women working together. Let's just talk about that the big elephant in the room. It doesn't matter what color it is, but about us working together. Funmi, Funmi can't hear me again. Funmi, we send our love and light to you, and we are going to work hard at making sure that we can get this pulled together so that you can be included. So I will pose this question to the two of you. Leah, you know, they always talk about women not being able to work together and women of color in particular. What were your thoughts when you saw all of us on that screen in that event?
I always love to talk about this topic because I just
You
think
do?
it's,
Well, go for it.
yes,
I'm
because I
like,
think
let you
it's,
go first.
yeah, I think it's just really rich. There's a lot that can be said. And, if I'm being completely honest, which is what the show is about, is I do feel like there can be some concern or some trepidation about working with other women, not necessarily women of color, but I do agree that there is a stigma around the ability for women of color to work together. And unfortunately, in my professional experience, I have encountered sisters who aren't really my sisters, just because, they're skin folk ain't kinfolk, that kind of thing. But I don't choose to associate those particular individuals with my people. I just chalk that up to that is that person's experience. This is how they want to show up in the world. So I always have full faith when I'm entering into any kind of an engagement that is being put on for us, by other Black women, because I also know that Black women they take things to the 10th degree and then raise it. So I know it's always going to be a phenomenal experience. I know we'll put in the work. I know we have the strength, the character, the ability, the talent. So I have no concerns about that. And the result is right here before us right now. We're complete strangers to one another, and now we're involved with each other in a way that I never anticipated when I said I wanted to be a speaker. So even though I think it wouldn't be unusual to enter into some of these types of programs with a little bit of concern or trepidation or questions, I still go in, with full faith and confidence that everything will be amazing and that the community and the sisterhood the community hood will still be one of the most rewarding parts of the program. And this is just a reminder that that is the case, and the stereotype does not prevail here.
Funmi, welcome back.
Happy to be back.
Yay.
I hope it's a bit better.
It does sound better.
Awesome.
I heard the awesome. Awesome, awesome. Where are you from in Ohio?
Inglewood?
Inglewood. Leah was just answering the question about women working together, women of color working together. But I would also like to ask this, and Leah, thank you for your explanation that skin folks are not all kin folks. Do you think
Yeah.
there's an unrealistic expectation that's placed on us? Why is it that if there's any kind of uncomfortableness, that it becomes the billboard for whether or not we can do things together. Why is there the pressure on us? Other folks cannot get along.
Because it's together. Um, for every time there is a restriction, there is a side of possibilities, and those that are scared of women coming together, especially women of tend to create these restrictions and create these scenarios, and it moves very fast. There are different scenarios of women not being able to get along, of colored work together. Um, it shows that they put a wedge or a barrier, it will stop you. It's like what happened in the town. They were building and building and building, and at a point in time, they realized the only way they could progress was to switch up the language and cause a division amongst them. And so hence, it happens among drive a narrative that is totally untrue, and they push it so hard. And you hear a lie so many times, it begins to sound like the truth.
Yeah.
It's contrary to what we can become and the things we can accomplish. And if you know, collaboration, colored or not, has always excelled.
I interviewed Oprah once when she was only worth $30 million. Poor baby. And,
She was in the poorhouse then.
huh?
She was in the poorhouse then.
She was in the poorhouse then, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, must have been stressful.
$1 million poorhouse.
Yeah, yeah. She said, I asked her about giving back. She said, well, I give a lot, even at 30 million. She said, I give a lot. But what bothers me is nobody ever asked Elizabeth Taylor if she gives back. Nobody ever asked Ted Turner if he gives back. Why is the question always, are we giving back? Do you think that's an unfair question on us as women and then as a people?
Well, I have something to say about that because I'm the one that's been in entrepreneurship for over a decade. And what I see is a certain kind of equilibrium, both when it comes to the terminology give back and when it comes to the terminology of low hanging fruit price offerings, right? So I'm thinking of our fellow entrepreneurs, and just even right now, the statistics are out there of, every like 1 in 10 Black women entrepreneurs had a lower pay grade or don't get venture funding as often as our fellow non Black and Indigenous uh, women, right? And so I was thinking about that in the sense of what is it, and it really does. It's narrowed down, and statistically, it's with women first. It's like, what is it that really has that stereotype when it comes to us really succeeding both in business, like Oprah, but then having to have to donate here and there or be have a maternal instinct here and there because we are a woman, because we brought men and women into this world. Why should we work for less? So that's what really came up for me, that it's that mentality that comes in just because we birthed this nation that we shouldn't run this nation.
Any other thoughts? I like that.
I do too. And I'll add my thoughts in. I think that it's a complicated question because on the one hand, I think there's just this underlying cultural belief that if we really want to get ahead, we have to help ourselves, because I know nobody's waiting around to be helped by, mainstream society. At least in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of lip service paid to equal opportunity, to affirmative action, to scholarships, to quotas, all these things that supposedly society has put in place to give people who've been historically marginalized, underrepresented, limited opportunities the chance to supposedly level the playing field, and we can start to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. But when it really comes down to it, I think there's still an overwhelming perception that we have to help our own. But I agree a little bit that with Oprah, that it isn't fair because, like her contemporaries, Elizabeth Taylor or Ted Turner, as you suggested, are probably not being asked those questions because that's just not something that they think about.
Isn't that something?
Which is something. And I think that it puts a lot of pressure on our, the wealthy elite in the Black community, and also sort of people in the public eye who are making money. Like, I know I've had conversations with friends where we're criticizing, NBA players, or, football players, or people who are in Hollywood for not doing enough to give back to their communities, but we're not asking their white counterparts to do the same.
Yeah,
So
like Elon Musk. Who
exactly.
does he give to?
Right. And so I'm like, if we're all in this together as one nation, race aside, we should always help those that are less fortunate, or help those that need a little bit of assistance so that they can help themselves. But I think it's racially loaded, it's culturally loaded, on both sides. So I think we also are quick to judge and demonize our own folk when they don't do those things, because there's an expectation that, well, automatically, why wouldn't you want to help your community? But at the same time, white folks aren't being asked to do the same thing. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are giving of their time, giving of their wealth, building foundations and all of these things. But that sort of gets set aside to maintain, as Funmi was getting at earlier, like these false narratives that are just repeated so much that it becomes fact. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, something along those lines.
Even with the first African American president, we've heard Black people say, well, he didn't do nothing
For Black
for
people,
us.
exactly.
It's like, well, he showed you how.
Yeah,
And
gave you a path.
I don't know if anybody in the Appalachians are saying, Joe Biden's supposed to come there and hang out with them, play basketball. I don't know. There's a double standard. We live in a country of double standards for women and people of color. What is it? How is it that we work toward um, moving forward? As Funmi, you were quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. about, if you can't walk, then run. If you, I don't know all the, but keep going. What do we have to do to empower each other to keep going?
I think we first of all just have to move. Quick, it will never be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Um, and as I see you walk along the way, you call on, and if you want to focus on females, as you go along, you call Pamela, and you call and you say, walk with me. If I see you walk by my place, I am motivated probably to put on my walking shoes and just join you. A combination of audio and visual. Now, because of media people, I use that example, video. And I said, oh, and my imaginative mind goes wild. But when I see it, audio put together, it's twice the effect. So when I hear the women doing, people of color doing awesome things, that's one thing. But when I see it, it's that propels me up the high possibilities of, say, representation matters. We can hear representation, but when we see representation, action. So I think in this cases, it's just move. And as you're the first person to take the walk, or you just might join the other people that look like you that takes the walk. But just move and do something and start and join and create and develop, elevate, and everything that has an action word to you is a sign of love. Like they say, love is a verb. The way to do it is just apply action to it.
We're discussing many, many topics, and tonight we're talking about how we came about, how this show came about, how we have joined spiritual arms, regardless to what our um, religious practices may be, but we are joined through a spirituality that is the spirituality of truth, which rises above everything. And as we move forward in this show, as I said before, those of you who are watching, please show this to some little girls in your life. Pull them away from a little TikTok or whatever the other things that they may be watching, and show this show and other shows that show women that look like them and inspire them to become. What what is it? What are some of the other things that we can do individually and collectively to help raise awareness, raise our collective voice, to elevate us, to raise the bar? Leah?
Oh, okay. Um, things that we can do to raise the bar. So many things. I mean, the bottom line is I completely agree with Funmi too that, you just have to do something. Only the fool continues to do the same thing that they've always done, expecting a different result. So if you do even one small thing differently, you'd be surprised at the exponential change that it can bring about. And I think one thing that I'm observing is that the more we become connected socially, the less connected we are in reality. So I think that there really is some importance in doing things in person, meeting up face to face, and really being immersed as a community. People can do this through, if they go to a church, or if they get involved with other aspects of the community, book clubs, reading clubs, conversation clubs. I mean, there's a lot of sporting. Right now it's World Cup, so play, go to your local gym and play some soccer with someone. Have a conversation about the themes of the day. But I think what we can do to kind of raise the bar and move things ahead is just have faith that we can do it. We don't need to wait for someone to reach out and lend us a hand, like we were discussing earlier with Oprah and helping our community. It can be very small. Change really happens in an incremental way. It's very rare that you have like a night and day change. It takes chipping away, constantly chipping away, and at the end you finally get to the result. So I think, as we've all said, and Martin Luther King's quote is, you just keep going, do something, do anything, and you'll find a way forward to get to the goal that you've set for yourself. And don't feel like you have to do it alone, because you don't. There's a whole community out there, and many of us doing anything that it is you can possibly think of that you would want to do, who I think would be more than happy to be a resource to you, answer questions, even just serve as a model. If you can't reach the person directly, you can watch what they're doing. And that's the beauty of social media. I just think there's just so much opportunity out there. It really is up to you to take advantage of it.
Zaakirah?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the word purpose, right? Purpose is, it starts with you and your own story and being able to confidently tell your own story. And then it becomes like a boomerang where once you are operating your purpose, once you are confidently telling your story, you empower another young Black girl to do the same thing. And that's really how we can collectively come together and use social media for good. Because I'm all about just, advocating for less bullying, more mental health awareness, and in doing so, sharing is truly caring in that matter. And it really just starts with being able to share your story. Like, I get it, like social media in these times, that's what keeps us together in a way, but it doesn't have to be the the temporary entertainment, the seven deadly sins of entertainment, right? You can truly use it in a positive platform and use it in a powerful way.
Funmi?
I think being deliberate. I've realized that the word is the right information. You can be in the right place and not have the right information. You could be on social media. So I think where we can raise the bar is giving out the right information. You can't hold anything. Nothing is new. Your ideas are not new. They're refined, rebranded. And so there's certain things, yes, you've worked hard for in building. There's some basic kickoff information that you can just give out free and be deliberate about it, to go around. So if we're in the media outfit and I have a young, I want to do what you're doing. I did that about 20 years ago, and I walked up to a lady. I was a member of the audience, and I said to her, I can do this. And she said, I'm sure you at the basics. And that's how I got my first job, working as a production assistant in a television company in Nigeria.
Really?
That's how I started. Yeah, that's how I started broadcasting. Yes, the show was called Sharing with Yemi Adenuga. She's now in Ireland, in Dublin. She's the first female counselor, and I said, I can do what you're doing. And she said, okay, let's get you started at the basics. And she gave me a pass that would come in on Saturday, and when that paper was tearing up, I had to tape it up with tape, transparent tape every Saturday to come in way before the show to get things set up. And that's how I do broadcasting, by someone giving me the deliberate information, but also by me up to her and say, I want to do this, I can do this. So I think being deliberate in giving information. Number two, deliberate in creating opportunities. You might not get paid physically with cash, knowledge, and more doors and more opportunity. That opportunity opening up in television, radio. Prior to that, I was doing it in my bathroom in front of the mirror. So I think just being deliberate on both sides, on the give and take, is a
Thank you very much. What an inspiring story, Funmi. Ladies, I am thoroughly enjoying this conversation, and I know those who are watching are enjoying it as well. We are going to be doing our next show in not next Wednesday, but the next Wednesday, correct, Zaakirah?
That's correct.
Funmi?
Every other
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday, we will be here. This gives you plenty of chance to look at our show, create some dialogue around it, and then in 2 weeks, we want to see you back here. Bring some friends with you. Make it a Wednesday evening treat. Get you some popcorn and sit around and chat and talk about these very important issues. And then look for the opportunity for you to raise the bar. We are so pleased to have had the opportunity to be in your space today via Restream. And we thank you for watching. We thank you for listening. We thank you for your efforts to raise the bar. From the Majestic View in Gainesville, Florida, I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast, raising the bar by helping you share your stories.
And I am Leah World Traveler, Leah Miller from the Majestic View in Jamestown, Rhode Island, raising the bar with transparency, honesty, and community.
And I am Zaakirah Muhammad through the See Life Different podcast and summit, located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I am raising the bar through empowerment and advocacy.
and final with the Village Meeting podcast, raising the bar with love and Majestic View. Please send us an email of the topics you would like to see here and any other ideas. The email is themajesticview@gmail.com. Every other Wednesday.
Thank you, Queens.
Thank you.
Oh, this is so special.